I'm just gonna hype this up because Rasasi gave me a free bottle of this. Hey guys, so today's video is gonna be a little bit different than my normal content. Normally I like to do some fragrance education, some tips, reviews, you know, things like that. I am still gonna be doing that fun stuff. I am actually gonna be putting out some fun fragrance education series. I wanna go over things like notes and, you know, what goes into a fragrance note itself and then what that entails for the whole fragrance itself. So everyone can really understand what's happening. And I might talk about some behind the scenes stuff too, like when it comes to the use of oils and with clone companies. So I might bring that up as well, just so you guys are a little bit aware and I can be even more transparent. But if you haven't seen my first video, or if you don't know why I originally launched this channel, I launched it because the blind buying, the dopamine rush, the cyclone that is buying a fragrance bottle of Joma Shop or wherever have you, and you know, getting it, opening it, smelling it for the first time, and then wearing it a couple times and never again. Or worst case, you buy it, you hate it, and then you either give it away or just throw it in a corner. I wanted to stop all of that. So I decided to take what I could and put it up for sale on my site, trialvials.com. Now, that's not here nor there. You don't need to buy from me if you want to get decants, but at the end of the day, guys, do your wallet a favor, don't blind buy, okay? The whole reason I'm giving you this long preamble is because we just had Rasasi released 3 new Hawases, or at least announced 3 new Hawases. We have Viper, Malibu, and Atlantis. We have Parfums de Marly, Carry-On, Aragon, and Valero. And then we have Afnan 9 PM Elixir. We have so many new fragrances that are being announced, dropped all in 1 year. And honestly, it could become such a dangerous thing for everyone's wallets, for everyone's space. And we're also in 2025. So do we really need all of that clutter and that debt? And what's even crazier is that, and I'll throw up the graphic here, but according to market research data, you know the #1 purchased company on Amazon for fragrances? It's Lattafa. Lattafa beat out Versace and Armani on Amazon. So that just goes to show you that it's at the tip of your fingers to order these bottles, and it is for a lot of people, and they do. You might buy something like Assad and then absolutely hate it, or Zanzibar or bourbon, or the tons of other flankers. So let me talk to you about these new fragrances and let's see what they're about and is it really worth it? So the first one is gonna be Hawas Viper. Now it is originally, I think all of us kind of felt like this one was gonna be God of Fire when they said the whole venom trait to it or something that venomous, like marketing theme and like the snake and everything. But then when you look at the bottle, it's a bit more mature, kind of gives like this, you know, woody, oud, leather, maybe an animalic type of vibe. So I'm going to assume that it's probably going to be something in that territory, something hearty, possibly even something like a gourmand twist or something, but we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, the only video of anyone that has it doesn't really do a note breakdown review, which is the real toxic issue with a lot of these fragrance influencers, marketers. You know, someone will get a fragrance and instead of trying to tell the notes, they might not even know the notes and then just try to say, oh, I'm just gonna hype this up because Hawas, you know, Rasasi gave me a free bottle of this Hawas flanker. So do your due diligence with all these. The next is Hawas Atlantis. So when looking into like the marine notes of this and like the citrus elements, it could possibly be something like Bulgari Aqua, Atlantic, or maybe Armani Acqua di Gio Profondo, but it's definitely like in that blue area, this Hawas Atlantis. Personally, I think this might be just like a slight blue or aqua twist on the original Hawas DNA. I don't even feel like Hawas is gonna go super crazy with it because they already did Hawas Black, Hawas Elixir, so they might go back to like that Hawas Ice type of flanker and just kind of tweak the DNA and just give you a new flanker of the OG Hawas. So we'll see what happens with that. And then we have Hawas Malibu. Now this one I think is gonna be something that is a JPG release. I want to say maybe Labo, because if you look at it, it's orange, pineapple, grapefruit on the top, orris, lavender, amber in the middle. And the base is musk, tonka bean, cashmere, and patchouli. So maybe not Le Beau because it doesn't really have the coconut and pineapple, but you might be able to achieve it depending on how you mix those oils. So I don't know, but it has the characteristic traits of JPG. Jean Paul Gaultier, they love to use tonka bean, musk, and lavender or sage. So if you look at the notes of Scandal, the notes of JPG, you'll see that there's some similarities, and you can smell them if you can kind of train your olfactory senses and kind of dig deep enough. You can smell similarities between the base DNA of Scandal, the base DNA of JPG La Mal, and like Le Beau. If you smell Le Beau, like you could smell like there's like hints of the same like, you know, initial DNA. Doesn't mean that they're, you know, close at all or similar fragrances. It just means like if you know that like Jean Paul Gaultier essence, you can kind of pick up on it. But we'll see what happens. All right. And then next, now we have Island Dreams by Khadlaj. So not to be confused with Khadlaj Island. Khadlaj Island is a Jean Paul Gaultier Le Beau dupe, right? And it's a great one at that. So this one right here, it's gonna be having bergamot, ginger, grapefruit, ambroxan, and musk then in the base. So, I mean, based off of this, it could possibly be like a Louis Vuitton fragrance or maybe like another Tiger dupe. You know, honestly, we don't know yet, but I would probably lean towards someone making another Tiger clone. It seems like just the thing to do to get your brand up too, because Khadlaj, they have the Cara Spice collection, and now they have this new Island collection. So I think they're trying to establish themselves just like the other brands have. So I think they're probably going that way, but we'll see. It could be something like, you know, a Louis Vuitton fragrance, like Symphony, but we'll see what happens. All right. And then we have Valhalla by Rayhan. This one is cognac, liquor, raspberry on top, tonka bean, oak moss, rose in the middle, oak wood, praline, and sandalwood in the base. So this is just a lovely, sweet gourmand fragrance. I think it's just another Angel Share clone. So it seems like Rayhan's also doing the same thing. So Rayhan and Khadlaj seem to be doing the same thing. They want to establish their brand a little bit more and be like, hey, we're like the big boys too. So it does seem like this is what both of these companies are doing. So Rayhan and Khadlaj seem to want to be pushing the envelope when it comes to being similar to Lattafa or Maf, Afnan. So I think Khadlaj and Rayhan are trying to get to that level because they don't have that kind of notice in the marketplace yet. But I think they're trying to establish themselves. And then we have the new PDM fragrances. So this is what's gonna really hurt your wallet if you're into collecting. I think any really established collector or anyone who's into Parfums de Marly fragrances anyways knows they are good fragrances. I think Castley was a little bit of a bust. Honestly, it did mirror some other fragrances I've smelled before. So that was actually really disappointing to smell, and also highlights, you know, the same point I'm going to repeat on and on like a broken record. Don't blind buy a fragrance because it smells like so many other fragrances. But that being said, so we have Aragon coming out, which is supposed to be like a spicy, woody fragrance. There might be some like vanilla and patchouli in there as well. So it seems like another kind of, you know, gourmand. Then there's Karios. So Karios, there's been some like talk about like fruity wood and like a little bit of aromatic theme. I think it's gonna have like some mandarin in it, some tonka bean and thyme. That seems like a great kind of like a woody, like kind of like a blue fragrance, but it doesn't have that aquatic sense. So it's like a great year-round fragrance if the fruit is done right. It really depends on how pungent that fruit is. If the fruit's a little bit too pungent, then it's gonna lean a little bit more summer. If the wood is a little bit too strong or the thyme is dialed in or out, it could affect how that tonka bean plays, and tonka bean can make it a more fall and winter fragrance. So we'll see what happens with those, but those are all going to be, you know, those are going to be like your $300 range fragrances. We'll see what happens when it comes to those. But honestly, like I said, at the end of the day, you should really, you know, do your diligence. If you guys want, like, comment, subscribe on this video. Tell me if you guys want to see me carry decants of these. I don't really see too much of a great reason to, but the whole reason for me launching the social media is to help offset the cost that I run for buying products and putting them on my decant site, trialvials.com. That being said, if you don't want to buy from me, you don't have to. But if you want to see something on my site and if you want to buy something, I will sell at the lowest possible margins I can, and I already do. So if you check out my site, you'll see tons of products like, you know, Got a Fire, Blue de Chanel, and I offer them at the lowest cost I can. I do buy from reputable sources. Check it out. Check out my site, guys. Also, tell me what you guys want to see on my site. The whole point of my business, this channel, everything is for the fragrance community, and it's also for people trying to get into fragrances to help them avoid the pitfalls of over collecting or blind buys that don't help. So that's it for today, guys. I will be coming out with a fun video about fragrance notes, so keep an eye out for that. I'm going to go over the history actually of particular fragrance notes and tell you how they developed and what was the significance of it. All right, guys. So see you later. Spray smart, spend better. See you next time.